Hi, I'm Trooper Smacka.
Hi, I'm Trooper Wellman,
Please stay tuned for a behind-the-scenes look at being a state trooper.
and together we can make a difference.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios. We have Trooper Cecina, not Cecina, and Trooper Schlater. And so we appreciate both of you gentlemen coming on.
Of course.
It's very funny because I used to say the other way of pronouncing his name until I found out I was pronouncing it wrong. And he's very modest and he didn't want to say anything. And
Right.
so
How long did he let you do that?
a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It was not very. It was not like 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
Trooper Whitmarsh, right?
Yep.
Sergeant Whitmarsh said to me when we were at the IPOF meeting. He told me, and I go, okay, and I. But the thing is that in any relationship, right?
Yep.
You start to build this friendship, and things evolve, and so. I didn't know, and so now even in my mind I make it a point. I'm like, okay, that's what, you know what I mean. Like when the troopers come on, I know by first name,
Right.
And so I don't call them by their first name, right?
Yep.
And so it's sort of those things in my mind.
Oh yeah,
So,
no, I totally. And he will let you say it wrong forever
Right?
if no one fixes him. So
Yeah.
Here's what I want to start with. Okay. Personal relationships. Okay. When anyone has come on to Trooper Talk, they get excited. Not everybody gets excited because they're on the TV and all that stuff,
Right.
like the higher ups, but they're like, okay, I'll just deal with it. It's Neil, right?
Yeah.
But any of the troopers or anything that has come on, or the sergeants from parole and probation, or any of them, right? Like, there's a personal connection. When you were here earlier than Trooper Cecina,
Yeah.
but when you were here and no one saw on the camera and he walked in, it wasn't like, hey, what's up, bro? Like, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and so I'm a big believer that if you believe, and I believe that a lot of people do, if they open themselves up, they can feel what they see on the television.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you look on the TV, you can feel that this is a genuine relationship, that you guys care about each other, and it's very important.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so let's talk about that, and then we'll get into some very interesting things about who you are.
Like for me and Cecina here, so I've been on 2 years longer than you, I think, about give or take a little bit, 2 or 3 years longer than him. And so when he came on, he went through the field training process and everything, and I always help the trainees because I'm a field trainer, and so I do the field training, and then I also do I basically donate my time whenever I can to help them improve even more. So I think that's what started our friendship, and then after that it was kind of just like whenever we could help each other out and whatever we could, then we always did. So
Yeah, it's like this mutual admiration. You
Yeah.
can see it, right?
Yeah.
It's like really special, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, who you are is very important. Not only you're who you are as a person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes you very special. But when it comes to the Nevada State Police, you do things that are very special. So tell us what it is that you are about when it comes to the Nevada State Police.
So for the Nevada State Police, I am the SFST A-Ride / DRE person. So I teach SFST, standardized field sobriety tests. I'm the lead instructor or co-lead instructor for that program, and then I also teach A-Ride for like advanced roadside impairment for drug impairment. And then I'm a DRE, so I coordinate the schedules for all of the DREs that are in Southern Nevada to make sure that we have a DRE that's available during any major incident to make sure that impairment wasn't a factor in those incidents.
I don't know what he was talking about. Here's what I do know. Not only, like way above my mind thinking, right? But
Right.
very special.
Yes.
Like I say to people, like, oh, I'm a graduate gemologist. Like, that's what I went to school for, right? Like, to hold these type of qualifications, just like I say that our friendship is really cool because in the short time that you've been with them of what you've accomplished, like we talk about the road stuff, the driving and all that type of stuff. To have somebody like that you can make a phone call to when you pull someone over and you have a question, it is, priceless.
Oh, yeah. And it comes to a relationship that we create. Like he was talking earlier, we started our relationship together by me asking him a question and me learning from him. I can't even mention how many times I've gone to him for questions. Even if it's 2 or 3 in the morning, he'll answer, and he'll give me that answer. And he'll guide me in the right direction. So not only do I learn the proper way, but I can continue on the investigation the proper way. So, I mean, I completely, fully respect Ash Later for what he knows. And he's out there. He works graveyard, so he's out there days, swings, whatever time, helping whoever needs it, especially the new troopers. And I'm always telling them, if you have any questions about the IV, you're never sure of something, contact Trooper Slater. And he's awesome to talk to. You can come at any time, any day, or whatever, and then just talk to him. And
I pretty much don't sleep, so
yeah,
yeah.
You don't feel.
You don't a couple hours here and there, and that's pretty much it.
You don't feel scared to call him or
I
something.
Always
so
tell,
he's very friendly.
Because I teach at the academy, so I always tell the academy cadets and trainees and all that. I tell them hey, if you don't know, call me. Like my phone's always on. I always answer. If I don't answer, it's because I'm completely passed out to the world. But other than that, I always pick up my phone because I feel like the most important thing is that if you're going to say that you're available, then you have to be available.
Yeah, of course.
You have to honor your word, right? If you're going to commit to whoever you're committing to, then you gotta see it through. Yeah. So I make sure that I've told. Feels like hundreds, since I know it's not that, but I've told tens, maybe how many classes have been now? For maybe 20 classes, it feels like. I've told hundreds of cops for sure. Hundreds of cops that anytime they need me day or night, just give me a call. And if only time I won't answer is if I'm asleep.
Yeah.
So.
And what we found out a couple weeks ago, right, which I was not aware of, because we had the parole and probation on for the sex traffickers and all this type of stuff before Halloween, right? That when it comes to what you do and what he does, right? You can absolutely take someone's life and flip it upside down.
Yeah.
And then not only they have to do that for the 12 hours or whatever, which is horrific and everything, but then they have this parole and probation, and they go to jail. I mean, all these things are and so to be able to do that because he needs you, right? Because I'm sure there are times when you're listen, I'm on the border of what is the situation. And to be able to have that, right. is invaluable.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we learn through that. So the fact that we have someone that can help us out, give us a second opinion, and tell us, what do you have? What do you think is the next step? And everything. Because he will not just give us answers, he will guide us the proper way to get to that answer. And that's just one of the many best things that you create relationships with them, especially with Slater, that you learn from. So it's very, very valuable.
And so I watch the TV program that they follow the police live every Friday and Saturday, right? And sometimes they have the state troopers, and sometimes they have regular police. But every episode, there's many people that they pull over, right? And after they pull the person over and they have whatever conversation, right? They say, please step out of the car, right? And some people are definitively under the influence.
Right.
And some people you don't. And so some people are belligerent.
Right.
Some people not. I mean, it goes all the way down the gamut, right? And so when it comes to what you do, because you have to always be in control, and that's the interesting thing that I watch. Like, as much as like these people, some of them are adequate. Like the officers on the show are, they're not screaming at him.
Yeah.
Right? They're just like, okay, like, listen, I'm just telling you like what the situation is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to your expertise, just like at the Nevada State Police, from the hierarchy where they lead that down, right? You continue to teach at the academy and stuff of that nature. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So I started teaching at the academy in 2019, and I've been, I probably started teaching there a little before 2019, but I started teaching SFSTs and DUI related topics in 2019, and I just have such a passion for growing our troops that don't have any of the information yet, as well as the troops that already have the information, because I feel like the most important thing that you can do in our business is train and be as prepared as possible for every situation that you can be, because there's not even an ability to be prepared for every situation. But if you have the ability to be prepared for as many situations as you can, then you're going to be more safe. You're going to be able to get home to your family, because that's the biggest thing at the end of the day, is that you can get home to your family. So whenever I teach at the academy, I stress the importance of, one is doing everything in the way that you're supposed to do it. So the standardized field sobriety test is standardized. We do it the exact same way every single time, because that is the way that you have to do it per the NHTSA manual, which is NHTSA manual. And if you follow the manual, then you're going to do it right the exact way that you're supposed to, and you're not going to have any issues in court. You're never going to have to deal with litigation or anything like that, because you did it the exact way that you're supposed to do it. So I stress the importance of doing it standardized. I stress the importance of safety. If you can't do it safely, then figure out a different way to do it, because you have to go home at the end of the day. So those are probably my two biggest points that I do with those. And then the next biggest thing that I teach is you have to ask questions. Our job is all about asking questions. If you don't ask anything, you don't learn anything.
Okay.
So if I probably say that phrase 100 times in the class, because if you don't ask anything, you don't learn anything. I don't know anything about you until I ask you questions.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah.
So that's
okay.
what I teach.
And I want to ask you something, but why do you have so much passion for this? Is it a personal, like something happened in your life, like a family member passed away, or you just
So basically, for the DUI thing, I think when I was a young troop, I was kind of just trying everything, because I didn't know what to get into yet, because I kind of just wanted to learn everything that I could, because I'm all about learning and learning as much as I can. So I kind of just got into so much stuff, and then I had a more senior troop, and he came up to me and he's like, "Listen, you're doing too much. Do something. Find something you like and stick to it." And I was like, "Okay, good advice." So then I got into the DUI thing, and I got really, really into it, and the reason that I'm so passionate about it is because every single time you arrest a DUI, you save a life. And it might be just that person's life, but it's a life. So that's what was such an impact for me, and that's why I'm passionate about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. We haven't we all have our personal stories, right? And so the best part about Trooper Talk is that we learn each time, just like you said. And every time we come on, somebody comes on, they teach us something, right? And so you have to ask questions, right? And so when Sergeant Parachek, I always come back to the fact that he would say, "Look, Neil, this is my office." Right? Like, you have an office that's behind walls. Mine is four wheels.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you're on the side of the road and you can't perform these type of activities because people are buzzing past you at 80 miles an hour, you know, we have to find some other way.
Yep.
And so we are all about getting these people who don't care, who maybe they made the wrong choice. They definitively made the wrong choice, right?
Yeah.
But they don't care,
Right.
right? Because if they cared, they wouldn't get behind the wheel. And if their friends cared, they wouldn't let them get behind the wheel.
Exactly.
And so we had Miss Stevenson on from the front office, and she talked about having duplicate plans if you go out. Like if this falls through, then you can do. You know what I mean?
Right,
and
right.
we live in a place that we have all that type of stuff, and people can do ride shares, and there's no reason that they need to be on the road, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways that people can get around here in Vegas. And I always see on TV discounts for Uber and Lyft.
Especially during holidays.
Yeah, especially on holidays. Taxis, buses that I think are free if they're going to shuttle within the Las Vegas corridor. So there's different options out there. Friends, family members. I think at some point, I don't know, I had heard this and I found it interesting. I don't know if it was us or Metro were also assisting if someone was needed to be picked up or needed some help or something, that we can facilitate a transfer for them. I don't know if that's being done nowadays, but I've heard about it and I found it interesting. So we're definitely out there trying to, assist them and trying to give them options on like how to get around Vegas without putting yourself behind the wheel while you're driving impaired. But at the end of the day, it's self-accountability. And
I'm sure they were wearing your bracelets. That's how they got the ride.
that's probably how they got the ride. Yeah.
right to the jail.
Sometimes.
Jail, not
Jail.
very pleasant.
Not very pleasant. Right.
To be
Don't
in the back of
recommend.
your, I saw that you to sit in the back of your car for
Not
a
very
couple hours or something with your hands behind your back,
Yeah.
twiddling your thumbs where you can't scratch the itch on your
Oh,
face,
Probably
right?
the worst one.
Every time that very rarely, or I've never had anybody say, these handcuffs feel great. Like it's
Thank you very much.
It's always a complaint. It's always something like, hey, they're too tight,
Yeah.
or they're this, they're that. And I always explain to people is like, hey, unfortunately, they are not built for comfort. They're built for restraint.
Because at the end of the day, it's for the protection, right?
100%.
Like unfortunately, you did something that now you need to be restrained and go to a bad place,
Right.
Yes.
for whatever time. You know what I mean? And so it's horrible. And so we thank you for what you do.
Of course.
Okay, like a dear friend of mine lost a friend of his maybe about I don't know, I guess it was about 8 months ago, that one off Hualapai, right, with the Cadillac, and you know what I mean, with the man and the woman. The man and the woman were dear friends of his. And so the husband, and they were very big media people here in town and stuff like that, and so the husband lost his life. And so I take my drive on Sundays, and I go see the lieutenant at his grave. And maybe about 6 weeks ago, somebody right in front of me did the wrong way driving. And so, these people are out of control. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always being here and bringing him. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, of course.
I would say one of the things that it might not come to people's minds, but it is a true fact, is at least with alcohol, it affects your prefrontal cortex first. So that's where all your decision making happens. So that's why when Stevenson said, hey, have a secondary plan, a third plan, a fourth plan, that's the best way to do it. Because if you go out and you're like, oh yeah, I'll figure it out when I'm done or when I get there, it's already too late. Because by the time you start consuming alcohol, now you think you're okay because in your brain, your prefrontal cortex is already messed up. Your brain's already like, hey, I feel fine, I must be okay.
Yeah.
And then now you're driving down the road and you are actually double, triple, whatever times the legal limit. And now you're in handcuffs and in jail and all of that.
Yeah.
So I am empathetic towards some of the the DUIs, but at the end of the day, it's always their choice. They chose to go out. They chose to drink or use drugs or do whatever, and then they chose to get behind the wheel of the car. So there was nothing that was forced upon them to operate a vehicle under the influence.
Yeah, and that includes prescription drugs that are legal because they're prescribed to you, but that still means you have to look on the bottle, and that means that when it says may cause drowsiness or whatever, it's the truth.
Do not operate motor
Not
vehicle.
operate
Or
motor
do
vehicles,
not
right?
operate heavy machinery.
Right.
Cars
You know what I
are
mean?
heavy
Like they
machine.
put that on for a reason, right?
Yeah.
There's obviously illegal drugs that put people under the influence, which are obviously illegal to have and consume, and so that's not good. There's the alcohol, and then there's the marijuana. And people think that, which I see all the time, these people driving down the road with billows of smoke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is not legal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so you have to consume any type of these things in your area.
Yeah.
It's not to be driving down the road.
Exactly.
And so when we're driving down the road, we have an inherent responsibility to all other motorists, including ourselves,
Exactly.
to not do these type of things,
Yep.
right? And so
That's-
that's why you're there.
Yep. That's
That's
exactly
why
it.
you're there too.
That's why we're all here.
I always tell the or not always. I always tell the DUI person is, listen, I'm just the end result to your poor decision.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not me picking on you. It's not me choosing to arrest you over anybody else. It's not any sort of anything. It is you made a poor decision. I ended up in front of you, and now we're here.
Yeah.
So I am just the end result to that.
And if that happens, they might not, but they need to be nice. You know what I'm saying? And they might not, but they need to be.
Should be.
All right, so you ready for some pictures now?
Yep.
All right, let's see what we got. So I don't know what Johnny does. This is the best part. Okay. On Tuesday, I could not be there.
Right.
But Johnny went to the promotion ceremony, and I love to go to the promotion ceremonies, okay? Because I love to see all the higher-ups at the Nevada State Police and how they are always there to support everyone. We heard from the Miss Stevenson.
Yeah.
How the lieutenant colonel sends the text for the birthday,
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time.
right? Like that's important.
Yeah.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like you think about like all the things that he has on
Yeah.
his mind, right? Like
It's
he's
really
doing all these
cool.
things, but he sends you a text on your
Right?
birthday.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? So let's see what we got here.
Uniform officers, attention! Effective Monday, September 4th, 2023, Sergeant Kathleen Vaughn, identification number 296, is promoted to the rank of lieutenant. Attention! Effective Monday, September 4th, 2023, Sergeant Jacob Fisher, identification number 317, is promoted to the rank of lieutenant and is assigned to duty station Las Vegas Southern Command. To this department, you've given a lot supporting them. So one small token is these flowers. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Turn around there for a nice photo. Get in there.
The certificate of commendation in receiving this life-saving medal to Sergeant Justin Bransky for life-saving services on September 1st, 2023. Life-saving service by Trooper Isaac Glockner on September 19th, 2023. Trooper Glockner responded to an injury crash. The vehicle was fully engulfed and the driver had been dragged from the burning vehicle by citizens. The driver was in critical condition, so Trooper Glockner requested a flight for life response.
Breaks my heart not to be there. You know what I mean? But we were there. We have all the clips, which Johnny's in the process of making right now, so that everybody that got promoted has their own little clip.
Awesome. That's great.
Okay, so that they have them for their families and all that. When I was there for Trooper Smacko getting promoted to sergeant, I thought one of the coolest things was when they give the partners the flowers,
Yeah.
right? Like we show, like we care,
Yeah.
like we know what you're gonna go through, like
Yeah.
right,
not
like it's
easy.
not gonna be easy,
Right.
right?
Yep.
But it's really wonderful. I love to see that the room is full again.
Yeah.
It's
great.
And so, one of the cool things is that everybody who's been on the Trooper Talk,
Mm-hmm.
2 of them are promoted to sergeant. 1 of them has promoted to the governor's detail, and so it's very important.
Yeah.
And it's important to be out there in the light, so that we can make a difference.
Right.
And so every single one of those troopers started off the same.
Yep.
And so when they get promoted, they're passing down that knowledge just as you do when it comes to the DUIs, because you can't be everywhere.
Right.
But if you can train everyone, and I like that, the standardized testing, because everybody thinks, oh, I got pulled over and the guy was just playing around, he didn't use the light right, or no, because they're standardized tests. Just in a sort of definition, talk us through the standardized DUI testing that we normally see, when somebody's pulled over on the
Right.
side of the road or something like that.
So standardized field sobriety test starts with medical questions. We have to first ensure that no one has any medical issues that would make it so that they would be unable to perform the field sobriety test. And then after that, we start with the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, which is where you see them, waving their finger in front of them. So that is actually a set of 4 passes that are done twice, so it's 8 passes altogether from side to side at different speeds and for different distances across the width of the body. And what we're looking for in that test is what's called nystagmus. So it's a involuntary jerking of the eye that you have no control over. So it's induced by alcohol and drugs. And in all reality, we all actually have nystagmus, but what it is that unless you're under the influence of something, or you have a severe brain injury or a really bad medical issue, we can't see it just like our eyes. Like we can't see it until you induce it with alcohol or something else. So that's what it is.
Okay.
So that's the horizontal gaze nystagmus. Then move on to the walk and turn, and that's the 9-step walk and turn that you kind of see.
Yes.
Yeah. So the walk and turn actually has like the most steps that we have to say. So the walk and turn, and the long and short of it is we're looking for 8 things in the walk and turn. So I know it's a lot to remember, but so the easiest way to break it down is we're looking for 2 things. So there's the instruction stage and the walking stage. So the instruction stage is where all we want you to do is imagine. So I always say, imagine a straight line coming from your left foot. Put your right foot in front of your left, so your heel and toes touching. Leave your arms by your side. Stay in that position until I tell you otherwise. Do you understand? Yes? Okay, great. Now I can move on to the next part. So then I go in to demonstrate what I want them to do. And then I explain it again. So I explain, demonstrate, explain. So there's no way they could say they had no clue what to do because I've explained it multiple times. But what we're looking for is on the instruction stage, there's 2 clues. So did you break your instruction stance? Could you not stand in the position I put you in?
I see. Right.
Or did you start too soon? So did you start before I told you to go? Basically. And then in the actual walking stage is everything else. So there's didn't touch heel to toe, steps offline, uses arms to balance, incorrect turn, incorrect number of steps, and stops while walking. And those are the 8 things that we look for. And then if you do so I guess I should backtrack just a little bit. So on the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, if we see 4 out of the 6 clues that we look for, that is indicative of impairment. So if 4 out of 6 clues for alcohol shows that you have an impairment at or above a .08 if you have 4 or more clues. And then for the walk and turn, it's 2 out of 8 clues. And on one leg stand, it's 2 out of 4 clues. So on the one leg stand, that's where they lift their foot 6 inches off the ground. They look at their raised foot and they count.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget to count because it's hard to remember to count when you're under the influence, unfortunately. Then so you do the counting, and then you do and then we have you. And what we're looking for there is if you sway, use your arms to balance, put your foot down, or you hop. And that's the 4 clues. So those are the 3 standardized field sobriety tests, and then we do have advanced roadside tests for like drug impairment that we do too.
And it's interesting you say that, because every time that I've seen, right, there's a guy that sometimes stands behind with a notepad, right?
Yeah.
And then you hear the officers say something like and they say they misstep, and so they're saying in their mind those clues or whatever.
Yeah.
And I always see, besides everybody, they walk like this and they don't, but they always mess up around the turn.
Always.
Because they stop and they go, okay, well, how do I turn? And they look at you and then they go, well, that's why I explained make the short steps, to go around. And so you have to do these things on the side of the road with cars not paying attention to the move over law. And sometimes these people are, just like out of control.
Oh, yeah.
And so with your training and being able to have someone to make a phone call,
Yes.
again, I come back to the fact of that this is what's so important.
Yeah.
Because you can't be everywhere, but you have to be able to say to somebody, like, look, like, this person did this or this person did that, and what are your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And so talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I feel a lot more comfortable with DUI investigations thanks to him. And I've seen it on you guys, because new troopers who just come in, because I remember I used to be that. When they have these questions in their face, when you see something but they don't pick up on it, or when they question, like, was that a clue or was that an indicator? So you talk to them and everything, because we all came from that moment, right? So I can tell you more. Feel more comfortable doing them. I even take it a step further. At the end of every test, I usually say, "Did you understood everything I demonstrated?" Yes. Is there anything that you want me to repeat or demonstrate again? No. Okay. You may start. So they're answering me. They understood everything, and they do not wish to see me repeat everything. So you build your own tools with what you're given throughout the academy, throughout your experience, throughout the roads, throughout the more DUIs you do, and you start building on that, and then you start making your own lingo as far as how you demonstrate, how you explain it, and everything. And like I said, it's always good, because I'm not going to say I'm perfect. It's always good to have him on the background where I can be like, well, that's a tough one. This is the first one for me. Let me call him. Yeah. And it's always great to have that, but I do feel more comfortable now with them.
And I come back to when we had the corporal on, and he talked about the string.
Oh,
right?
Corporal Nicewarner.
Right. So when Trooper Wellman was here, we always did the DUIs.
Right.
And we always showed a shoe, because that shoe represented someone's life.
Right.
And so we talk about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But one of the things that I take away from that, which is the same type of thing that you keep talking about as well, is when the corporal said, listen, if you have a string that is off of your shirt and it's hanging, it's no good.
Right. That's
like and so like everything is exactly the same. Right? Because if you're on your stop, how do you know that you filled your gun with bullets? Right? Like you think, but like it comes down to the training.
Yep.
And so the training is that you have to keep doing these things over and over and over again.
Yeah. So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We call it a perishable skill, right? So if you do SFSTs or field sobriety tests in the academy, which everybody does because it's a post requirement, so you for sure do it. But if you do it a few times in the academy, and then you don't do it at all in field training, and then the first time you do it, it's going to be a mess. There's no way you're going to do it because you never practice, you never You never honed in the skill. You lose it if you don't use it. So that's why I always stressed practice, 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 practice. If you don't know how to do it, don't practice. Come talk to me, and I'll help you get you the right way, because I don't want you to practice the wrong thing and then do it wrong. If you don't know, if you're not sure, come talk to me. I will walk you through your field sobriety test without an issue. And I always approach it as I used to mess this up too. We are at the same level. I just happen to know a little bit more of this topic. It's not me, berating you or anything like that. I'm coming to you to help you out. That's all it is. So like, I'll watch fields a lot, because that's part of what I do, is I watch people do field sobriety tests and help them, guide them to better ways of doing it, or more. I critique. It's basically the long and short of it. Yeah, I have to. But every time that I have to approach somebody and have that conversation, I always tell them is, hey, this is not me beating you up. This is not me trying to upset you or anything like that. I'm just trying to make you better. And here's what we got to work on, or here's what we got to do this. If you try this or try that, or there's 1,000 different ways to do certain things. But if you have to do the field sobriety test the exact same way every time. And the way that I always think about it is if I do it the exact same way every time, I can't mess it up.
Right.
If I do it different, then I'm going to start messing things up. If I do, so the example is the order that I gave you the field sobriety test is exactly how we do them every single time. So if I started with the one leg stand, that would jack me up. Yeah. We always start with the horizontal gaze and silence. We always start with the eyes. And then we go to the walk and turn, and then the one leg stand. The order is exactly how we do it. And so I'm not going to do one leg stand first, then HGN, then the walk and turn, because that would jack me all up. I would be able to do it. I could work through the problem, but
it would mess up. It would mess up how you
the
do
process
things.
exactly.
Yes.
So that's why whenever you have a process of doing it and you're doing it properly, just stick to it. Don't shift what already works. Don't break what's not broken.
No, 100%. I'm with you 1,000%. When somebody comes into the store, we do it the same exact way in the start of the process every single time, and so that's the way you start things.
Right.
And then from there, then you can gradually look at different ways to do things. But it's very important.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I appreciate from the deepest bottom of my heart that you would take the time and come here and you would talk to us. Okay? Because your knowledge is invaluable, and what you're sharing with us and talking with us is absolutely tremendous.
Yes.
But it's not there for the public to find the loophole. It's so that the public knows that you know the law. And so when you are asking them to do whatever you're asking them to do, you're not asking to be silly. You're asking because there's a reason.
Right.
And so we just have to respond to that. So I appreciate that. Trooper Cecina. Right. And I like how you guys don't call Trooper and stuff. It's just the last name.
Yeah.
That's very cool. You know what I mean? Final thoughts?
I just really appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's not very often that I get to talk to a mass amount of people. So I always say in my side of work is that I change the outlook of law enforcement one person at a time. So to have the opportunity to get on a platform like this is just a blessing. So I'm really grateful.
Well, we appreciate it. We'll see you. So we won't see you. So next week is the F1.
Yes.
Right. So just very clear that people need to be. I just want to talk very quickly, Johnny. 2 minutes. I just want to talk about the F1 real quick. Okay. You're going to be out there and you're going to be patrolling.
Yes.
For sure.
And see, Johnny, that was good, right? You're going to be out there and you're going to be patrolling.
Yes.
So when it comes to the F1, people need to be prepared.
Yes.
And not that they don't anyway, but like, you know, stay away from that area and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff if you don't need, right? Go on.
Yeah.
Don't go on Flamingo. Don't go on Flamingo past like Maryland Parkway,
Yeah.
basically, or Tropicana,
Or Spring Mountain.
or Spring Mountain.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of road
'cause
closures.
there's
in that
a
area.
lot of road closures. There's
lot of
law enforcement.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of construction in that area. So plan alternate routes.
Yes.
If you have to go to work, we understand that, but you're not going to be able to go
Plan
the way you
accordingly.
always go. So figure out a different way to get to your job because it's not going to be open.
Yeah.
So
Slow down,
Slow
wear your
down.
Slow
seatbelt,
down.
and leave the fast cars on the track.
Right. Leave the fast car track.
Yep.
And let's leave early,
Leave early,
right?
yes.
So that you don't have to drive fast.
Exactly.
And no driving impaired during that time.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you.
now we're going to turn to this one, and we're just going to wave, and we'll say, see you later.
See you later.
See you later.